Think about the last time you did something kind. You probably told yourself, I did it because I care. But what if that's not the full story? Hello, and welcome back to Bookworm. Today we're exploring The Elephant in the Brain, a book that challenges something we rarely question. Do we really understand why we do what we do? According to this book, much of our behavior is driven by hidden motives, reasons we don't even realize. Instead of seeing those motives clearly, our brain creates explanations that sound better, more acceptable, more honest. In other words, we don't just hide things from others, we hide them from ourselves. From charity to conversations to everyday decisions, there's often a second layer beneath the surface. Stay with me until the end because understanding this idea might completely change how you see your own behavior. If you enjoy psychology and human behavior, like the video and subscribe to Bookworm. Now let's go deeper.
Today we're diving into a really fascinating and honestly a kind of uncomfortable idea from the book The Elephant in the Brain. And it's this: we all driven by hidden motives. Motives that we don't just hide from other people, but motives we actually hide from ourselves.
So let's just start with a puzzle that I think every single one of us has lived through. Just think back to school for a minute. All those years, all those hours cramming for tests, historical dates, math formulas, literary theories. You work so hard, you ace the final, and then what happens? Poof. A few months later, it's pretty much all gone. Now, if the entire point of school was just to learn and remember stuff, you'd have to say it's incredibly inefficient. So what is really going on there?
Or, okay, how about this one? When somebody gives a lot of money to charity, we almost always hear about it, right? Buildings get named after them, there are these giant checks at fancy events, big posts on social media showing off the good deed. But if your only goal is to help as much as possible, wouldn't it be better to just quietly give the money to wherever it would be most effective? Why does it seem like the performance of being generous is just as important as the act itself?
And that right there, that gets us to the real heart of the mystery. It's not just that our actions can seem a little weird or contradictory. It's that when you ask us why we do these things, we give these perfectly good, sensible answers. We'll say it's about a love of learning or a deep desire to help people. And here's the craziest part. We 100% believe it when we say it. But what if there's a deeper game being played? A game our conscious minds are actually brilliantly designed to ignore.
To really start to unpack these puzzles, we have to pull back and look at the big picture, the fundamental stage where human life plays out. You see, we're not just individuals walking around doing our own thing. We live our entire lives inside this giant, non-stop social game, where our every move is being watched, judged, and evaluated by everyone else.
Our evolution wasn't just a battle against nature, finding food or running from predators. The biggest, most intense challenges always came from other people. We have always been competing for resources, for status, for partners. And in that social arena, it's often what you'd call a zero-sum game. One person's gain is another person's loss. And in a game like that, what other people think of you, well, it's everything.
And let's be clear, the stakes in this game are as high as they possibly get. I mean, this is the stuff that makes or breaks a life, both way back in our evolutionary past and right now today. Who are you going to partner with? Who can you really count on when things get tough? Who's got your back? Who gets respect? Your entire future is shaped by how well you navigate this social world.
So if you're constantly being judged, the key to winning seems pretty simple, right? Just look good. You've got to present yourself as a valuable partner, a loyal friend, a worthy ally. But here's the twist. The best way to look good, the most effective strategy, involves something so sneaky that the very first person you have to deceive is yourself.
And this is where we get to the book's central metaphor. It's an idea so huge, so obvious once you finally see it, but so easy to ignore that the authors call it the elephant in the brain. An elephant that's been sitting in the room of our own minds this whole time.
So this image here really captures the idea perfectly. That elephant, that represents all of our ugly motives, our raw selfishness, our competitive streak, our constant jockeying for status. It's massive, and it's driving so much of what we do. But our conscious mind, that little eye of introspection, it prefers to look at all the pretty motives floating above, like community and altruism and fairness. We are literally designed to stare right past the elephant in the room.
Now here's the crucial point.
This self-deception, it isn't a flaw. It's not a bug in our mental programming, it's a feature. It's an evolutionary strategy that's been fine-tuned over millions of years. I mean, just think about it for a second. If you aren't even consciously aware of your own selfish motives, you're a lot less likely to give the game away with a nervous look or a shifty glance or a slip of the tongue. You become a way more convincing actor in the great social play because you genuinely, truly believe the noble part you're playing.
This quote from the legendary evolutionary biologist Robert Trivers just nails it. It's so simple and so powerful. We deceive ourselves the better to deceive others. The best liar is the one who believes their own lies. And our brains evolved to do exactly that, to hide the real, unflattering reasons from us, from our conscious self, so we can sell a much prettier story to the rest of the world.
Okay, so how does this whole self-deception thing actually work, like in our day-to-day lives? Well, it works by creating stories. Plausible, socially acceptable stories that we tell ourselves and everyone else to cover up the elephant's tracks. This chart does a great job of breaking down what the book calls good reasons versus real reasons. The good reason is the public story. I'm going to college to learn and broaden my horizons. It sounds great. And look, it's not a complete lie either. But the real reason is often about something else, something more competitive. I'm going to college to get a credential. That piece of paper, that diploma, is a signal to employers that says, hey, I'm smart, I'm hardworking, and I can follow rules. Our brain is programmed to shout the good reason from the rooftops and just kind of whisper the real reason in the basement. The book uses this amazing analogy for the part of our brain that does this. It calls it our internal press secretary. Think about it. A real press secretary for a politician. Their job isn't to be totally honest about the politician's raw ambition. No, their job is to spin every action in the most positive light possible. Well, our internal press secretary does the exact same thing for us. It takes the actions our brain chooses for strategic, often selfish reasons, and then, after the fact, it cooks up a noble-sounding story to explain it all. It's a master of spin, and its only job is to protect our public image.
All right, so once you get this lens, this idea of hidden motives and signaling, you just can't unsee it. You start seeing the elephant absolutely everywhere. So let's go back and apply it to those puzzles we started with, and a few more.
Let's look at charity again. With this new lens, giving away a lot of money in public isn't just about helping. It's also a powerful advertisement for yourself. It signals, hey everyone, I have so much money and security that I can just give it away. It signals that you're a generous, cooperative person, which makes you look like a much more desirable partner, or friend, or ally. And that explains why getting public credit is so important. Because what's the point of a signal if nobody sees it?
And what about school? The signaling model explains so perfectly why the credential, that diploma, is often way more valuable than the actual knowledge you crammed for the test. School is a long, hard, expensive obstacle course, and by finishing it, you're signaling to employers all the things they really care about, that you're smart enough to get through it, you're diligent enough to work for years, and you're compliant enough to play by the rules. The actual subjects you studied, a lot of the time that's just secondary to the power of that signal.
You can even see this with something like art. Why do people spend a fortune on a weird painting? Well, yeah, genuine appreciation for beauty is part of it, but it's also an incredibly efficient way to signal high status. Just being able to afford and display expensive art screams wealth, and being able to talk about it intelligently signals that you're educated and culturally sophisticated. It's basically an admission ticket into certain elite social groups. Even something as natural and automatic as laughter is a powerful social signal. Just think about it. You laugh way, way more when you're with other people than when you're by yourself, right? Laughter isn't just about something being funny. It's a social glue. It's a signal that says, I get the joke, I'm on your team, we're in this together. It's this incredible tool we use to build alliances and figure out our place in a group, almost completely without thinking about it. Okay, so I get it. Hearing all of this can feel a little cynical. Does it mean we're all just a bunch of selfish fakers? The authors would say absolutely not. This isn't about judging ourselves or other people. It's about getting a more accurate map of the territory, of the human social world. The real power of seeing the elephant is clarity. It gives you better situational awareness. You start to see the unspoken games being played in a work meeting or at a party. It can also lead to a much deeper and even more forgiving understanding of why people do what they do. They're wired for this game, just like you are. And realizing that we all have this same wiring can actually build empathy. And finally, even though it's hard, it creates a path to being more honest with ourselves, which can help us align what we do with what we truly value. And that really leads us to the final and most important question. Because this idea, once you really get it, it's impossible to unsee. You'll start noticing the hidden signals in conversations, the unspoken motives behind big decisions, and maybe, just maybe, you'll start to see the faint outline of the elephant in your own mind. The question isn't whether the elephant is there anymore. The question is, now that you know where to look, what are you going to do with that knowledge?
If there's one idea to take from this book, it's this. Our actions are not always what they seem. The elephant in the brain shows that hidden motives play a role in much of human behavior, from generosity to opinions to everyday interactions. And most of the time, we're not even aware of them. This doesn't mean people are dishonest. It means human psychology is layered. We act, and then we explain, often in ways that make us look better, even to ourselves. But once you start noticing this pattern, something changes. You begin to question not just what people do, but why they do it. And more importantly, you start questioning your own reasons. That awareness is powerful. If one idea from this video made you think differently, write it in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring psychology and behavior, don't forget to like and subscribe to Bookworm. Until next time, the hardest truth to see is the one inside your own mind.